Oh, good job, Jenna. Cece, I love Cam, but you were right on this. Like, that's just pathetic by the Dolphins defense.
They were awful.
Like, what is that?
Someone needs to take out an APB on Indomitian Suit. Like, where is he? Someone apprehend him and bring him to an NFL stadium, preferably the Dolphins.
Moving on to the Cowboys. Yes, Ezekiel Elliott is still suspended, but now we learn that All-Pro linebacker Sean Lee will likely be out with his hamstring injury, and all-everything left tackle Tyron Smith could be out again as he deals with groin and back problems. And let's not forget the Eagles. So you see they're facing the Eagles Sunday. How much trouble are the Cowboys in at this point?
Oh, the Cowboys in a lot of trouble. Regardless, I mean, the opposition presents the best team in the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles, with the best record. They present a number of problems for Dallas just from a strategy standpoint. You know, how's Dallas going to be able to stop the run without Sean Lee? Now, Sean Lee, I believe, is one of the most underrated players, but this is what you deal with when guys are hurt. So if you're a Dallas fan, don't be like, oh, it's unfortunate. No, these guys get hurt, and Sean Lee more than regular guys. And if you want to make an example, if you look at Carolina's defense with better personnel, what that defense is like without Luke Kuechly, you can look at Dallas's defense when they play without Sean Lee, a totally different defense with less personnel. So I think Philadelphia and their ability to dominate the line of scrimmage presents Dallas problems. And then from a defensive front, you think Dak got hit last week. Oh, wait till Philadelphia gets after him.
They need Tyron Smith in this football game.
And even with Tyron Smith, they're going to get to him a whole bunch.
Agreed. Before I even give my take on this, I want to ask you something, because I think I understand it, but my guess is if I think I understand it, some of the audience definitely doesn't understand it. Maybe I don't fully understand it. We've heard you and Ray both almost gloss over the quarterback of the defense, middle linebacker, and then just kind of move on because it's second nature to you guys. Mm-hmm. Can you explain why that spot from Sean Lee, as far as diagnosing what the offense is doing, is so hard to replace? Because you see it with him, you see it with Kuechly, you see it with other guys around the league. Why is that such a difficult spot? And I know he's not the same position as Kuechly, but he plays the same spot as far as quarterback of the defense.
Yeah, it's basically the same spot in the defense. Typically, the defenses in the NFL, the defensive linemen eat up the offensive linemen. So the linebackers can roam free. The linebackers are supposed to be tackling machines. So the defense is set up to funnel everything. Don't let them get the edge, right or left, and funnel everything down the middle where the linebackers can make the tackle. When you talk about installing a running game, you talk about how can we make big plays in the running game? It's get the running back through the line of scrimmage and into the second level. So now if you're able to get to the second level, what the offense is trying to do, and if that linebacker, that guy, the sure tackler, if he's not there, then you're off into the secondary. And that's where defenses really get hurt. When you allow them to get to the second level, and Sean Lee, they keep him protected, allow him to roam free. That's what Ray always talked about. Because at one point, Ray played a 34 defense where they were over the nose and protected him. Then they went to a 43 defense, and it was a whole different scheme for him.
What about the stuff pre-snap that you guys were talking about where Ray would like literally grab someone, move them? You see, I saw Kuechly last week basically tell the defense they're running a screen. Like he saw what the offense was doing before the offense saw it and got him in it. You see Sean Lee do that a lot.
The football IQ of the middle linebacker, typically, if they're great players, is going to be beyond, almost up to a coach's level. And when the coaches install the defenses, they give all the intangibles and all the little facts to the guy who has the headset, because he can retain the information. And as the offense switches formations, the defense switches multiple times. And he is the guy in control. So when you have a different voice, that also it might not be as authoritative as someone else. You might not also have the same level of respect or confidence in that player because you haven't played with them. And that's what we've seen with Dallas. When Sean Lee's not there, lack of continuity, a lack of another middle linebacker being that tackling machine, and you see running backs get into the second level of the defense.
I think getting back to just what this means for the Cowboys and injuries-wise, it's not just that they're playing the Eagles. They're playing the Eagles, and then 4 days later, they're playing the Chargers again. So they've got a pretty substantial workload coming up with guys that do need rest and would love to get bandaged up before they come back in, and they just don't have that luxury.
With no margin of error.
Right.
Because that's the thing, is it's not like you can say the Cowboys are not in a position Like, if it were flipped, if the Cowboys were the 8-1 team and the Eagles are coming in 5-4, given that it's 2 games in 4 days and you have a banged-up left tackle, you have banged-up inside linebacker, you might say, you know what, let's rest both of these guys Sunday. So they have 10 days before the game on Thanksgiving, then 10 days for the game after. But you have no margin of error. Like, this is where we're at in the NFC. I know we're going to talk about the Panthers later, but you have 5 teams that already have 7 wins. Philly, Minnesota, Saints, Rams, Panthers. Those teams are all 7-3, 7-2, or 8-1. And then you've got Seattle sitting there at 6-3. Now, they lost Richard Sherman, so they are 6-3 with an asterisk, but they're sitting there. Detroit and Atlanta both got wins this weekend. So they're sitting there at 5-4. Atlanta with the tiebreaker over Dallas. Dallas sitting there at 5-4. So, like, if the playoffs started today, not only would Dallas not be in it, they wouldn't even be the first alternate. You know, and so Dallas has ground to make up. They're playing one of, if not the best team in football, and then they got 4 days later. Like, this is a game Vegas, I think, has Dallas only as 3.5-point underdogs. That strikes me as very health dependent. But as you said earlier, every team deals with injuries this time of the NFL season. One thing that I think is a fair criticism of the Cowboys head coach, Jason Garrett, is why he seems to do just fine if he has his full complement of talent. If you've got everybody out there, like the Cowboys run like a well-oiled machine, but as soon as you remove a piece or two of their critical pieces, things seem to fall apart. Maybe that's just me blaming a coach when I shouldn't, but it seems like other teams deal with that a lot better.
Well, I can't say that because I can't prove it. I think that Dallas only has a few marquee names. And if those names are out, there's less guys that you know. I think Mike McCarthy in Green Bay, I think that he gets a lot of criticism, but a lot of that's based on the front office. Dallas has a good roster, but you cannot recover from Ezekiel Elliott, which I've been telling you guys they were going to suffer, and you definitely can't recover from Tyron Smith, the left tackle. All right? If I have one player, I want Tyron Smith playing left tackle.
And let's not forget, they could have had Zeke. I mean, I know we can't play hindsight here, but they could have had Zeke to help out if he had sat out the first.
If he had said he was guilty.
Right. Which he's still not doing, by the way.
Yes.
Exactly. Coming up is Cam Newton returning to MVP form. That is next on First Things First. Get happy, Nick.
Oh, Cam played last night?
And then when did that happen?
Check that for me. How'd he do?